Good morning, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Sarita. So happy to see you this Sunday morning. I have one candle for you today, and it is from the candle company Nest. Here's what the box looked like, because you get a box when you have these luxury candles. Nest, this is from their Wilderness line. I'm not sure all the candles that are in Wilderness line, but I know that charcoal, the black year-round charcoal one is in that, which I have been seeing at Marshall's, and as you can see, I did get this one from Marshall's as well. It was $24.99. They used to be $20 or $19.99 Marshall's for this 8-ounce vessel, and I did notice, I just went to Marshall's yesterday and I did notice some charcoal woods that were $19.99. They were back to that price. So I don't know, but the regular price for Nest has gone up. So these 8 ounces are like 48 bucks now, really leaning into that $50 price point, which I think is a little bit too much for these candles personally, but God bless. I would probably only pick them up at TJ Maxx and Marshall's, and often I am tempted to do so. And I did on this occasion. Friends, this is Midnight Moss and Vetiver. And from what I can tell, it is actually a fairly new candle for Nest. Hey, look at my nails. Isn't that pretty? It's like perfect. Here's the vessel, by the way. It's like I matched my nails. I didn't. I mean, it's late October and I just wanted these nails anyway, but how perfect is that? All right, so Midnight Moss and Vetiver. And this is a very classic Nest look here in terms of this candle. You can see right at the bottom there, it says Nest, kind of very subtly, and looks like that on the bottom. I burned this one down, 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 all the way to the wick clip. I did get sooting right up in here. Not on the other side, which means that it may have been a little bit of a flame situation, but it's a considerable amount of soot, and I don't know that that's unusual for this particular candle company, although I haven't burned that many Nest candles. I have never liked the shape of their vessel. And I know I'm in the minority in saying that, so unpopular opinion, I get it. I do love, I like fine the stripes, that's fine. And I do love like colored, I liked colored glass, I like colored wax, I like the colors for sure. So I don't necessarily have anything against the glass or the kind of textured design or the stripes or the colors. I've never understood this like fluted kind of design though. I don't understand why Nest doesn't just have straight walls all the way around like they do for the votives, like an old-fashioned tumbler. I don't understand why it fans up like this, like a flower pot, or like, I suppose some glasses are like this as well. I just don't think that it's a very smart decision in terms of burning candles. Here's the thing. Your first few burns on any candle, but especially premium candles, can be trying. It can be very difficult. You burn it and like trying to get it to the edges, it is often very difficult to get it to pull all the way. And you really have to if you don't want tunneling going forward. And it's like they've set themselves up for an even more challenging first burn experience by having the widest diameter be toward the top. By the time that you get to like the halfway point, it's usually burning pretty well if you've set it up strongly at the beginning, but it's also a narrower diameter. Anyway, close parentheses. I don't love it. I've never loved the design, just the way it looks, and burning them now, I just think it makes it extra challenging to really get it to pull to the edges those first few burns. I did do it, but it takes many hours. Many hours. Make sure that you devote enough time. Like at least minimum 3 hours to get it to go all the way. It's a 1 wick, right? Okay. Let's talk about the fragrance. So the blurb here is, walk along the woodland trails at midnight and inhale the earthy aromas of wild tree moss, crushed patchouli leaves, and vetiver, enhanced by an unexpected hint of bergamot. Well, the first thing is, bergamot is not unexpected. Because you've got an obviously outdoorsy / masculine leaning aesthetic, marketing. You've got moss, outdoorsy. You've got vetiver. You've got patchouli. So with all of those things combined, bergamot is actually not unexpected because, as we've talked about several times, bergamot is a fairly standard add-in for a men's cologne. And men's cologne often have, or men's body products, they tend to have more outdoorsy elements, more rustic elements, sometimes herbal, sometimes musky, but bergamot is kind of the cherry on the masculine cake, so to speak. And yes, this does go in a somewhat standard men's direction, but I have to say that it is it's a lot of moss. A lot. I would say it's primarily those earthy elements, moss and wood. And it doesn't say wood here, but really I think there's a great deal of wood in it. It could be cedar wood. I would say mostly moss, wood, a little bit of bergamot, and something that is on the musky side. And it could absolutely be patchouli or vetiver or both of them or musk. I do think it's either patchouli or vetiver because it's not only a musky element, but it's also vaguely herbal as well. But I would say that the dominant notes here are the moss and the wood. And although, again, it's not listed, there is a smokiness. And I do think that upon burning it, the smokiness comes out quite a bit more. So after it had burned for a couple of hours, I was getting a very like base level moss, like a dampness, plus a wood, plus a smoke. So this was giving me very much an outdoor, like campfire kind of feel with some, like I said, vaguely herbal elements to it. The bergamot went away a little bit upon it being burned, so I can't say that it goes like generic men's cologne or men's body wash in the way that I think like charcoal woods does, for instance. And I have not burned charcoal woods, so I probably need to reserve some judgment on it. I liked this one. I hauled both charcoal woods and midnight moss from Marshall's, and I said at the time that charcoal woods just seemed like very generic to me. And maybe upon burning it, it's going to be more original, but it didn't seem so. This I really liked, and this one I thought had a little bit more freshness and originality and innovation to it. I have to say that I like it better on cold than I do burned. Burning it, it just went a little bit, I don't know, it just was kind of like smoky and damp and mossy. And yes, a little bit herbal, but for some reason it's just lacking an element for me that would make it brilliant. And I don't know what that is. I have to say it's not a particularly sweet candle, and it seems more sweet on cold than it actually is upon burning it. It's just not very sweet. So if you're a traditional like fruity gourmand kind of person and don't lean toward these kinds of elements, I would be very wary of this kind of a candle. I don't think you're gonna like it. And I specifically don't think that you're going to like it upon burning it. If you do like damp, if you do like outdoorsy, especially if you're kind of one of those spooky Halloween kind of persons, it does not have enough patchouli in it to really go fully fledged, like spooky. And I kind of wish that it did, to be honest, because maybe that's the element that does need to be pumped up for it to be a little bit more brilliant. But I do think that that's more your kind of candle. Yeah? So, yeah. I was reading one of the little reviews online. I think it was actually Sephora, because Sephora sells this as well as Nest. But I don't know why you would pay those kinds of prices for it if it's readily available at Marshall's. And when I went yesterday, there were like 3 or 4 of them. They even had the votive. The votive was $9. This one was $24. And I saw that Philly Candleman went to his Marshall's and found the really big one too for like $40. One of the reviews on Sephora, and I kind of agree with them. They were like, I can't say that I love it. I can't say that I hate it. And that's exactly where I am with this too. I don't know that I love it, but I don't know that I hate it either. And it's definitely more in my wheelhouse than like a very sweet or fruity kind of candle. That said, I do think this needs a little something else. And for me, maybe the dampness of the moss with the smokiness of the wood, it's just a little bit too grim, for lack of a better term. There's something, this candle needs a little bit of an uplift. And I'm not sure, although there is a hint of bergamot, I don't think the bergamot is going to be able to brighten it in an authentic kind of way. I'm thinking maybe a currant or something. It just needs a little something. And I wouldn't even mind it being a little bit on the sweet side. But it just needs something else. Like I said, mainly upon being burned. Because smelling it cold, I think it actually smells quite balanced. There is a sweetness to it upon it on cold. But then when it gets burned, it just really kind of goes into the basement and goes very like damp earth, smoky charred wood, like it with not a whole lot of relief to it. I do think this olive green color is very apropos for it. This is definitely, it smells how the green looks for sure. But I actually think that it's a little darker green than here. And it doesn't have any of these like maroon blue elements. There's just not enough of a contrast of something. It needs a little something. That said, I did see somebody else on Sephora be like, oh gosh, I got charcoal on my nose. Great. Because of the soot. I did see somebody else say something like, this has to be in their top, like, I think they said something like half of the Nest candles I think are not great. This is in the upper top 50% of candles. And I agree with that in terms of Nest. Because while I've not burned all of them, I've smelled almost all of them. And I would have to say that this is definitely in the top tier for Nest. But I'm not sure that I'm a huge Nest person. Like the jury's still out for me on Nest. What I appreciate is that this candle exists. I love it. I love the chances being taken with the authentic outdoorsiness without it necessarily leaning perfumey or cologne-y in this case, without it having to be a fruit, without it having to be a gourmand, without it having to have marshmallow and vanilla. You know what I mean? Like I appreciate, I love it when candle companies do this sort of thing, and that is surely the same with Nest as well. Strength and throw on this one was like, ooh gosh, I want to say it was a 5, maybe. I think 5 is about right. It did live most of its life in the guest bathroom where I got the best strength and throw. But I did notice that after it had been burning for a couple of hours, I could open the door to the guest bathroom and it would come out into the hallway, you know? And like I said, or creep along the floor might be a better way of putting it. All that moss and charred wood, kind of, you know, it's in a lower register for sure. And I can't even say, it's definitely not sweet, and I don't even know that it's not a pretty fragrance. I don't even know that it's pleasant per se. So those are the caveats. I'm the kind of person that would love and obsess over this candle, and I don't know that I'm obsessing. We'll just put it that way. Would I pay another $25 for another one? Probably not. Would I pay $48 for this? Almost certainly not. But I would say that for most of the Nest candles, like I would not pay for them at $50. I just don't. Right now, I'm not seeing that they're worth that $50 price tag. And I don't think they have enough fragrances that are like true, like hoard-worthy, brilliant kind of fragrances there aren't like comparable versions from other candle companies that are charging less and sometimes that perform a little bit better. That's what I got to say about Nest Wilderness Midnight Moss. But like I said, I'm so happy that candles like this are out. And they are, to some extent, even if they're not entirely successful in their execution, they are a little bit of a relief from the traditional, especially in this time of year, the traditional and basic pumpkin spice apple, etc. And I think that they're just relief from more mainline candles that just go like fruity or floral or gourmand. I like inclusions like this. So overall, I'm happy with it, but I don't know that I'm wowed. There you go. I am wowed by this. Look what I picked up at Costco. Ah, yes. Folks, it's on sale. I can't remember what the actual price is, but look at that I'm going to consume here in the next couple months. Yes. And that's outdoorsy too. I'll see you in the next one.